Hi, everybody. Tina here, your good news reporter. And today I'm spending a few minutes with Susie, who's a longtime Century resident who was driving the car directly behind and to the right of the Honda Odyssey driven by Olivia Maggs earlier this week. As you know, Olivia was the beautiful mother of three that died tragically Monday in an accident on I 95 when a large truck blew out a tire and ran into the family van she was driving with her three kids inside. Susie parked her car, called 911, and then ran to the scene to help rescue the kids inside. The car was on fire and it was an urgent situation. So a lot of people kind of stopped to help. While Susie was hesitant to do a video interview with us because of all the good Samaritans who were on site, I assured her that it was important for someone that was there to help educate our viewers on the part they can play in such a situation. Because, as you guys know, there's an accident on I 95 every day, it seems like, and it's important for us to be prepared. I think her story can help us all better understand our role if we witness something like this week's tragedy and when we're on the road ourselves. So, Susie, thank you so much for agreeing to be with us today for a few minutes. We really appreciate your time. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened on Monday from your experience?
Yes, I was driving in the right-hand lane behind the truck. I was more behind both cars, and sorry, the lights in my office. And the I saw the truck jerk all of a sudden, and then go in and run into the silver, the Honda, I guess, and I saw it go right into the guardrail and crumple. I pulled right over to on the opposite side, to the right side, which is where I was basically right under the bridge over at Pineda, called 911 immediately. And then I grabbed towels because I didn't know what we were running into. I had no idea who was in the car, whatever's going on. I just knew that whoever was going to need help right away. And there was a bunch of other cars that started pulling over to try and assist, and I basically ran across 95 and just started over. People were trying to do everything. The car had caught fire. Somebody thank God, had a fire extinguisher or a couple fire extinguishers. They were trying to put the fire out. They were screaming that there were kids in the car. Some people were trying to bust the windows, and they were very hard to bust out. Some people had the little hammer, that you can get to try and bust through. It's always good to have something like that. God forbid you go underwater, something to break out your window. But they were having a hard time. Somebody grabbed their tow hitch and they're trying to just bust those windows so that we can get in, because you can see smoke coming. The airbags had gone off. You heard the kids at this point, you had crying. They got the back window. I put towels over the back. Somebody had also put something else over the back to climb in. Another young lady got in there who she got all the way in and got like into the back seats. I climbed in there, and we're just trying to get the kids out. Other people were trying to work to get the doors open to get to the mother. It was chaos, but so many people trying to help, so many good Samaritans, people. There was a dozen, probably more. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was just going. And I think that's what a lot of the other people were doing. They just jumped in and started helping any way that they could. And it was all different people, all different ages, all different races, all different. There was no, everybody. It's just anybody who was there to help. They tried to help until, fire rescue. The police came on scene first, but fire rescue wasn't there yet. And so they came in there trying. They're still working with all of us to try and get everything out. The babies had gotten everybody out. The kids we got the kids out. The
Yeah.
mother, they were trying to work to get the mother out, but they had not been able to do that. And then fire rescue came on scene. By that point, they asked us to clear the area so that they could work on the car and making the scene safe, and and at and so they could bring in the chopper and for the kids. And but it was such a sad sad day, but there, thank God for all the people. And there was a lot of people. There was not one person who, was any more whatever. Everybody just jumped in to do what they could. No, no experience, no whatever. They just jumped in.
Yeah.
And the reason that, like you said, I was very hesitant because this is not what I want to do. But I, I, I did make a post right away when I left that the most important thing that you can do if you are not the person to go jump in, and I don't tell people to go jump into a fire by any stretch of the imagination, you can call 911. If you cannot do anything else, and this isn't any emergency, this is you see a person passed out, you see a car accident, you see anything, get emergency services going as soon as possible
Yeah.
because that can make the difference for anybody. So, I mean, in my case, I did have passed, I was a EMT over 20 years ago. So, and I've taught CPR and first aid, and I will tell you, I did break the survey the scene rule that they tell you, and anybody listening to this and who knows it has taken it, you're supposed to make sure the scene is safe. The scene was not safe, but we jumped in because that was what we had to do to try and save, whoever was in the car at that
Mhm.
time. So, and again, I'm not telling anybody to go do that. And I'm sure, and that's, I said, please speak to fire rescue, honestly, before I even make sure you, that they feel the same way about that because you don't want people just jumping in and doing wild things because it makes their job harder in the end.
Yeah.
That's as soon as they get there, clear out, let them take over the scene. Don't try and overtake them. Some things that's important. It's and for yourself, things that if you're going to come across things, always keep extra things in your car, towels, blankets. You never know when you're going to need them. In this case, I used the towels to put over the thing so that we crawled over, but we would have all crawled over. It didn't matter, but it was just one little thing because I didn't know what we were running into. Was somebody bleeding? Was somebody whatever? You
Right.
just don't know. You're in your cars, make sure you have a glass breaker. Now, it's my understanding that the newer cars, it's harder to break those. There's professional version and lay people version of these tools. So I'm not sure, but I don't have a fire extinguisher car and I don't know who does, but thankfully there were people who had that in their car. So again, the best thing I can tell is call 911, get the people, try and know where you are so that you can give the best description that you can for them. And, just be there for the people and don't, don't do anything that you're uncomfortable with. If you're not comfortable, don't do that. And in certain cases, you also don't want to create more victims. But again, in this case, they were just trying to get her out and the kids out. Um, so that was the the priority.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, understood. So it sounds like, and I did speak to a fire captain, and I'll talk a little bit about what he said too. But it sounds like, for the rest of us, if we can have a glass breaker in the car, that's helpful. Maybe a first aid kit is kind of intuitive to have in the
yes,
car. We should have that anyway, right?
right.
And then anything that you would suggest not be done, or anything that you saw that you felt maybe was not a good idea at the scene.
The only thing, and you've always got looky-loos who do things. There was a couple people, and not a lot. So the people who were actively helping and doing things, they were just there to help. But you're always going to have people trying to shove a camera in
Yeah.
there and look, and that don't be doing that. Don't
Mhm.
try and get 5 minutes of fame to up your page or anything else like that. There was a lady who did that. She was, and I did yell at her, and who knows, she may have that video up there already. And I told her to take it down because, you don't know, maybe some poor person who didn't know what was going on, and this is their friend and family, and to see that type of tragedy, on screen is awful. Or who knows what they're going to do with that. That's not your job to sit there and video people, especially in tragic situations. So no, your
Yeah.
job is to try and make space. If there's a way to stop traffic so that it's less dangerous. If you have flares, put them out on the road to keep the people safe. Safety is the key, and then certain things, and it's not so much what you can't do, but little things that you can just do for yourself. Learn CPR, learn first aid, things like that. Don't be afraid to help. If some people are afraid to help because they don't want to be sued, there's a Good Samaritan law that protects you if you do things in good faith. You're not going out, you're not pretending you're on Grey's Anatomy, and doing things that you saw on TV. You're trying to help in your best effort and into the scope of your knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and that protects you in the Good Samaritan law. And when you learn CPR now, they don't do, it's hands only CPR, so that you don't have to worry about breathing into somebody. But anything that you can learn to help your family. It doesn't matter that you're going to help a stranger or whoever else, but help your family, help other people that you never know what situation you're going to be in. But again, if you're not comfortable helping somebody, always call 911.
Yeah.
Always call 911. That is and some people don't do it because they think that 10 other people did it. But you know what? If everybody thinks that 10 other people did it and nobody made the call, then who's going to help that person? You have to think of, what would I want somebody to do for me or somebody to do for the people that I love? And that's how you should act.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. And the fire captain I spoke with, who is local as well, he said exactly the same thing. Pull over safely, call 911, regardless of if you think other people have, and then just get as accurate of a description as you can of the vehicle, the location, how many people may be injured, so that they can come prepared for whatever they're going to walk into. So you can really, even as a bystander, be really helpful in these situations. Um, Something else he did mention about the window film. So yeah, you've got these personal window breakers, glass breakers you can keep in your car, and you should. And I just ordered one as well. But the firemen have, like an industrial size version of this. And some of the newer cars, some of the more luxury cars have like a coating on the windows that the smaller breakers won't work on. And so if you have that situation, and that may have been the case here, because I heard there were, tow hitches being used to break open the windows in the car. Use what you have to use if you're trying to get kids out of a car on fire and you feel like you want to help with that situation. But it just kind of depends on the car as to whether the smaller glass break will work or not. So bottom line, call 911, pull over, do what you can, and don't pull out your camera. I mean, we see that too often, and it's just, you could be helping in other ways. So definitely not something you should do. Susie, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I know, you didn't want to be called out singularly, but there were about a dozen bystanders that were helping there with the kids and pulling everything out of the car and holding them and keeping them safe until, rescue got on the scene. And so I just want to thank you on behalf of the community and everybody that helped there on Monday. The loss of the mother was tragic, but thank God those kids got out of the car. And that was a big part of, the Good Samaritans helping out until rescue got there. So sincerely, thank you, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you. And I think there's a GoFundMe page for the family. Maybe you guys can put a link up for them to help that
Yes.
family, because they're going to need all the
Yeah.
help that they can get. And the only other thing I will say is, please keep this whole family in your prayers, and for, the
Yeah.
anybody involved, and just try and keep yourself safe. That's really you know,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely. These are tough
so
roads we've got here, and it seems like we've got an accident reported every day, at least once a day. So yeah, be careful, be vigilant, hug your kids, and thank you so much for joining us again.
thank you, Tina.
Did it end it? I think it did. Oh.
Hey, this is Jerry with On Point Wildlife Removal. If you think you might have critters in your attic,